Fellow Kenyans, today marks the second time I've stood before you to report on the state of devolution. It is an honor to be standing before you again this day. We as the pioneer governors have presided over the setting up of pioneer governments that are now coming of age as our term of office comes to an end in a few months' time. We have done a lot of work, put a lot of effort in making sure that the new constitution is implemented and devolution takes root in this country. And we are happy to announce that thus far, devolution has taken root, and we believe, even though certain forces that would want to water it down still continue operating in this country, we believe where we have reached, devolution cannot be reversed easily, and citizens of this country have full confidence in devolution and the fruits that they are reaping from the handwork of restructuring our nation and our governments to deal with the challenges that have been affecting this country for the period we have been independent. And indeed, devolution was brought in to address those challenges, challenges of marginalization, challenges of unequal development, challenges of inclusivity, people being marginalized, communities not being able to access resources, and indeed the challenges that were brought in by an over-centralized system of government. So far, a lot of resources have been set aside and taken to the counties to address those challenges, and we can be a witness, all Kenyans can be a witness that devolution is transforming this country in a big way. Therefore, would like to start by thanking you, fellow governors, for your steadfastness in protecting devolution and working very, very, very hard under very difficult circumstances in uncharted waters to make sure that devolution reaches where it has reached today. Excellency in governors and fellow citizens, having said that, kindly allow me to highlight proof that indeed devolution is working. Further, allow me to appraise you on behalf of the 47 county governments on the work we have done thus far. I am truly honored to present to you a report card of the strides we have made in the last 4 years. We have had devolution. With the advent of devolution, the performance of the agricultural sector witnessed remarkable growth. As illustrated in the Economic Survey 2017, the performance of major crops since the inception of devolution is as follows. Tea production, 2,119,200 tons. Coffee production, 226,400 tons. Maize production, 2.1 million bags. Wheat production, that 8.1 million bags. Sugar production, that 3,167,027 tons. Rice production, 484,959 tons. Recorded milk production, 2.824 billion liters. Horticultural production, 1,139,600 tons. Since 2012, the number of selected livestock slaughtered was as follows: cattle and calves, 9,222,900 ends; sheep and goats, 32,928,500 ends; pigs, 1,353,400 heads. Initiative by county government to upscale farm technology and mechanized services has greatly reduce the burden and drudgery of agricultural work, the purchase of 344 tractors, establishment and rehabilitation of 34 agriculture mechanization centers and 32 agricultural training centers, construction and maintenance of 332 milk coolers, purchase and distribution of 1,712 greenhouses, underscore some of the major achievements, technological achievements in upscaling agriculture by counties. Of course, we continue facing a lot of challenges in agriculture, especially on our reliance on rain-fed agriculture and the poor coordination between county governments and the national governments. Whereas the national government is supposed to be in charge of the overall vision on how we drive agriculture and the research and long-term planning, we've not seen very good coordination in terms of how we can drive a national agenda and a national vision in agriculture. And I think this is perhaps where we need to focus as we move along. And that is why, with the drought that is in place, which we were very poorly prepared for, we have a biting drought and we are not able to adequately feed ourselves. And indeed, the story of Unga prices that is unprecedented clearly demonstrates that there is still a serious problem in agriculture, because if we cannot be able to feed ourselves and make basic commodities affordable, and yet we are an agricultural country, then there is a problem. And the biggest challenge really is that lack of a proper interface between what the national governments need to do and what counties need to do, and setting targets that we all work together to achieve in this sector. Fellow citizens, well-developed rural infrastructure formed the epicenter of agricultural renaissance. In this recognition, county governments have purchased and distributed 2,604 irrigation kits for use by rural farmers, which has greatly transformed rain-fed farming system to irrigated farming system. Since 2013, county government have so far established market linkages, established and maintained 249 markets in order to ensure farmers have ready markets for their produce. In addition, county government has initiated 231 value chain centers, which have promoted long-term farm-level value addition of traditional staples, such as dairy products, sorghum, and sweet potatoes. To date, county governments have vaccinated 45,800,889 animals, artificially inseminated 1,219,545 livestock, procured and distributed 111,588 liters of semen, which has effectively improved the quality and yields from the livestock sector. Input subsidization program by county governments have greatly increased the accessibility, availability, and affordability of key farm inputs such as fertilizer and the seeds. Initiative by county government to purchase and distribute 1,596,791 bags of 50 kilograms of subsidized fertilizer signifies the goodwill and the determination by county government to reduce costs of farm production. In addition, county governments have distributed 13,520 tons of maize and bean seeds to smallholder farmers, 765,180 tons of tissue culture seedlings, and 5,344,675 fingerlings to fish farmers. In the health sector, county governments have played a critical role in healthcare transformation by leading innovative efforts to improve the quality of healthcare while reducing its costs. County governments have continued to allocate an average of 21% of the budget to health services. In the last 3 financial years, a total of Kenya shillings 200 billion out of the Kenya shillings 954 billion allocated to counties was allocated to the health sector. The health sector has become a model for money flow to the counties from our development partners. Money from partners such as Daninda, SSF now goes directly to the county's revenue fund rather than through the national government. And since the inception of devolution, the health sector has made some significant strides. In 2012, there were 874 doctors and 6,620 nurses in the entire country. Currently, there are 4,008 doctors working at county facilities and 557 doctors at national referral facilities, making a growth of total of 4,637 doctors. In addition, in 2012, there were only 3,757 nurses. Currently, the number of nurses at county facilities stands at 24,373, while those at national referral facilities are 1,224, making a total of 25,597 nurses. Though the distribution of healthcare workers across the country has not attained global standards, the current status is an improvement from the previous era when health was a function of the central government. It is worth noting that the county governments have embarked on strategies to ensure better working conditions for health workers by improving their remuneration and regularizing labor relations with their respective trade unions. Excellency Governors, counties understand that universal health coverage and investment in health systems can accelerate both national and global efforts to ensure access to health care to anyone who needs it and leaving no one behind. Universal health care is crucial to increase healthy life expectancy, to reduce poverty, to promote equity, and to achieve sustainable development, overall sustainable development. If we were to give a few examples from some counties, for example, in Makueni, for example, citizens register into the healthcare plan with Kenya shillings 500 per year, which covers the principal beneficiary, their spouses, and direct dependents below the age of 18 or 24 for school-going dependents. The registration fee ensures pooling of resources and also sustainability. It is a scale-up of the existing institutional structures and existing programs of healthcare for senior citizens over 65 years that are already in place. This healthcare innovation has a tremendous impact in the county. More than 10,888 principal members have registered into the program. This translates to about 60,000 to 70,000 direct beneficiaries. This has reduced the average length of hospital stay, reduced waivers, and largely reduced dependence on Harambee to raise cash for hospital bills. Counties are also embracing technology in attaining better healthcare outcomes. In my home county of Meru, for example, we have used technology to fight malaria, the malaria epidemic. As you know, malaria is still a serious public health concern in Kenya. According to World Health Organization malaria report, Kenya has a 3% share of estimated total cases of malaria deaths in Africa, with 15,061 malaria deaths reported in 2015. In Meru, cases of malaria in hospitals have significantly reduced in the last 5 years due to more accurate diagnosis. Data from the county health department shows that in 2016, 38,000 cases of malaria were diagnosed, down from more than 200,000 cases diagnosed between 2011 and 2013. This is as a result of proper diagnosis. In 2015, we engaged a Canadian-based healthcare information technology service provider known as FIO Corporation to improve diagnosis, treatment, and record keeping. As a result of this initiative, cases of malaria diagnosis have dropped from 32% to 0.05%. Moreover, in Kericho and Nyamira counties, healthcare professionals are now using telemedicine. That is the remote diagnosis and treatment of patients by means of telecommunication technology to improve the reach, speed, and the quality of healthcare. And there are many, many other similar cases and examples we can give from almost each and every county in the innovations that counties have taken in the healthcare sector. These are just but a few examples picked to demonstrate what counties have done in transforming healthcare. One of the objectives of devolution is to ensure equitable sharing of national and county resources throughout the country. However, the Council notes with concern the reduction in absolute amounts, the equitable share allocation to county governments in the 2017-2018 financial year by the National Assembly's Budget Committee from the National Treasury's proposal of Kenya shillings 299 billion to Kenya shillings 291 billion without considering the consistent revenue growth that the country has produced. To put this growth into absolute terms, nationally raised revenues have grown from when the devolved system of governance was effected in 2013-2014. Share of revenue was Kenya shillings 936 billion. 2014-2015 it was Kenya shillings 1 trillion and 8 million. 2015-2016 Kenya shillings 1.251 trillion. 2016-2017 Kenya shillings 1.445 trillion. And the projected revenues for 2017-2018 is Kenya shillings 1.5 trillion. It is important for Kenyans to know, albeit regrettably, that the constitutionally mandated mediation process that was constituted between the two houses of parliament collapsed due to lack of consensus. This therefore means that the county governments might go into the new financial year without their budgets in place, hence stagnating development and ultimately leading to chaotic transition process. The Constitution obligates counties to not only develop their budgets after the approval of the division of revenue, after the approval of the division of revenue bill by Parliament. We are therefore urging Parliament to treat this issue with the utmost urgency that it deserves. The mediation period elapsed on April 30, 2017, the bill having been forwarded to the mediation team on March 31st, 2017. And this state of affairs is very, very, very serious. We do not understand as a Council of Governors, and I'm sure even Kenyans don't understand why the National Assembly would want to reduce allocation to counties, even from the proposal that was given by Treasury. Treasury gives a proposal, and the Treasury has the technical capacity to assess the needs of the national government, and then the National Assembly decides that it must reduce that money that is supposed to go to the counties. We are asking for an amicable resolution of this matter between the two houses of parliament, but a resolution that does not put counties in any financial strain that counties have been going through for the last 4 years that we have been in office. We think, given what we have looked at with our experts, that an additional 28 billion to the counties is not bringing any dent on the national budget, given the consistent revenue growth for the last 4 years. So it will be a demonstration of the National Assembly's commitment to devolution and the general welfare of this country if they resolve this matter positively and allow counties to access more funding. And indeed, this matter is urgent because if we don't pass our budgets before the elections, it means county government coming in place in August will have no money to spend and will have no budget to implement. So in fact, what it means is that there will be no county government in the place to speak about. So it is a very, very serious matter that needs to be given the seriousness it deserves. However, it is worth noting that during the 5th National and County Coordination Summit held between 10th and 11th February 2016 at the Sagana State Lodge, it was resolved that a committee be formed to undertake an analysis of the functions on both levels of government with the aim of eliminating duplication and wastage. There is a report that was finalized in April 2016 with recommendations that are yet to be adopted, which include, among other things, release of funds to county governments for their unfunded functions in library services worth Kenya shillings 319 million, Kenya shillings 8.4 billion for the additional 32 kilometers of roads transferred to county governments, and enhancement of fuel maintenance levy share from the current 15% to 25%. Nevertheless, even with the scarce resources, county governments have so far made huge investments, with all sectors gaining the biggest share of allocations. In 2016-2017 financial year, the 47 county governments have allocated 93.6 billion shillings towards this sector, which represents 24.8% total county allocations. The education sector, comprising the ECD, youth, sports, culture, and social services, come third in the county investment with an allocation of Kenya shillings 36.4 billion shillings in the 2016-2017 financial year, with a percentage of 9.65% of the total county allocations. Fellow citizens, counties understand the singular importance of infrastructure in the economic development. With this in mind, county governments have allocated Kenya shillings 49.6 billion in the roads, infrastructure, and the public works sector in the 2016-2017 financial year. The second largest allocation, representing 13.1%. I am pleased to report to you that the investments have greatly improved our infrastructure. Between 2013 and 2016, the following was achieved in the roads sector. Tarmacked roads, 379 kilometers. Marramed, graded on graveled roads, 35,934 kilometers. New roads that have been opened, 19,148 kilometers. And rehabilitated roads, total to 9,572 kilometers. This financial year, the road sector has registered an improvement with 471.25 kilometers tarmacked, 61,651.95 kilometers marramed, graded, and graveled, 23,834.48 kilometers opened, and 21,322.3 kilometers rehabilitated. In 2016, through the intervention of the court in a matter filed by the Council of Governors, the function of management of county roads was transferred to county governments, including outdoor advertising. County government also got an additional allocation of that 1,113 kilometers of roads transferred by the Transition Authority, bringing the total to 121,113 kilometers. The Interagency Task Force recommended for the reallocation of Kenya shillings 8,000 8.43 million from the Ministry of Roads to county governments as attendant resources for the construction of the additional roads. To date, however, the same has never been implemented. Due to the additional transferred kilometers of roads to counties, which expanded the road network in the counties, the interagency task force also recommended an increment of the fuel levy fund from the current 15% of Kenya shillings 7.9 billion to 25%, which would translate to Kenya shillings 13.1 billion. The 13.1 billion is based on the projected Kenya shillings 55 billion worth of revenues by the Kenya Roads Board. This recommendation, therefore, that was not implemented must be included in the current Division of Revenue Bill 2017. We have been consistently asking, because these are recommendations that have been adopted and supported by the law. We have been consistently asking for this recommendation, these additional resources to the counties to be included in the current Division of Revenue Bill so that counties can be able to access this money to continue improving the road network and infrastructure in the rural areas to continue spurring economic growth and improving livelihoods of citizens across the country and therefore contributing to the overall development of this country. Ladies and gentlemen, Schedule 4 of the Constitution mandates county government to undertake county planning and developments. So far, all 47 counties have invested in planning and have made some significant achievements in this regard. One of the achievements is that counties have initiated the development of Geographic Information System, GIS-based county spatial plans, which will provide the spatial framework for all developments within the counties. Moreover, over 289 markets that have been constructed in urban areas to facilitate trade within counties and in inter-counties. Counties have also invested in urban safety with over 50 urban areas having invested in street lighting that has improved the environment for doing business and has allowed the citizens to do business, to spend more hours in business even at night. Clear guidelines for spatial planning has been developed and will be launched in the next financial year. The Council of Governors also involved itself in improving the legal and policy environment in the land sector, including involvement in the task force on land regulation and extension of leases. In addition, the Council of Governors has negotiated for approximately Kenya shillings 3 billion funding for counties from the World Bank and under the Kenya Urban Program to support urban infrastructure and governance. Despite these laudable milestones, however, counties continue to face challenges in implementing programs and the projects towards sustainable urban development and land management. A number of laws that were enacted before county governments were created and therefore needed realignment to recognize the role of county governments. For instance, the Urban Areas and Cities Act still poses serious challenges to the counties in terms of determining urban areas and establishing relevant governance structures. Even those that were enacted recently, like the Community Lands Act 2016, have had parts of them suspended by the courts due to legal flaws. Excellency governors, fellow citizens, counties have continued to facilitate trade through construction and rehabilitation of markets across the counties. The ease of doing business in the country has improved with the introduction of the single business licenses, among other strategies. This led Kenya to moving from 21 places in the World Bank Index of Ease of Doing Business in the world, where it moved from position 113 in 2015 to position 92 in 2016. This means that starting and operating small and medium-sized businesses has been simplified, which enhances the capability of the local communities to do business. Ladies and gentlemen, the cooperative sector has been an integral catalyst in improving the socio-economic affairs of the people of this country through creation of wealth, employment, and alleviating poverty at the rural and urban areas. The cooperative movement have grown to over 5,000 cooperatives and employing over 3.5 million people across the country. The county governments have continued to partner with private institutions and at the same time continuing to create value chains that have continued to help generate wealth in the country. Examples include honey processing plants and mango processing plants that have been put in place in various counties. In Tharaka County, for instance, a move to revitalize the cooperative movement in the county has borne fruit. The aim of the initiative was to focus on one or two commodities in the cooperative structure and build a sustainable value chain around it. East African Breweries Limited, in collaboration with the county government, started a pilot project in the county which led to the production of over 50% of the last year's sorghum supply in the country. The county sensitized the locals, and particularly the youth, to engage in farming to enhance their economic well-being, thereby engaging the youth in the value chain. Due to this, farming has attracted many young entrepreneurs and encouraged other young people to engage in the venture. The county government of Bomet uses a cooperative model as a means of alleviating poverty. The government of Bomet formed that award-level multi-purpose cooperative societies, each with 1,200 members. These cooperatives have been assisting with revolving funds by the county government to a tune of Kenya shillings 34 million to assist them grow their small businesses. For the last 3 years, this fund has grown to a total of Kenya shillings 74 million and is rotated within over 1,000 members of the cooperatives. Every day, the cooperative is provided a milk cooler and is able to collect up to 10,000 liters per day. The county dairy cooperatives can collect up to 400,000 liters per day, which is taken to different processing plants within the county. The beneficiaries that the department has reached is over 112,000 households that have benefited from the intervention. This is basically an example of one of the initiatives in the cooperative sectors, and I'm sure every county will give you an example of what they have done to transform the cooperative sector, which is a full and evolved sector. I know if I were to give examples, I would pick almost every county. But we are giving that as just one model to tell you what counties have been doing in transforming the cooperative sector, nurturing it to be able to continue creating livelihoods for our farmers, generating wealth, and also creating employment. All these initiatives are aimed at accelerating investments and creating job opportunity at the county level. The introduction of small micro loans to youth, women, and small cooperatives is further accelerating investments in the counties. fellow citizens, all the statutory intergovernmental structures have been established and are now operational. I'm now turning to the intergovernmental relations. The summit, the Council of Governors, Intergovernmental Relations Technical Committee, and the Intergovernmental Budget and Economic Council. All the above institutions have had sittings and made various policy resolutions. However, there have been some challenges with the functioning of these institutions. The summit, for example, has never fulfilled its statutory obligation of holding meetings at least twice a year. Essentially, by the end of this first regime, the summit should have been convened at least 80 times. In most cases, the summit has only been convened once a year. Further, the summit has never submitted even one annual report, a violation of Section 10(1) of the Intergovernmental Relations Act. This means, therefore, that the summit decisions have never been formalized or made public, so that they can be references that the public can make, references that the public can make on issues relating to intergovernmental relations. It is therefore our recommendation that for devolution to take root and for us to have seamless service delivery and a better coordination of intergovernmental affairs, the intergovernmental institutions that are very critical in this regard therefore need to be strengthened. This includes, of course, the summit, which needs to be functional, to have a secretariat that is supposed to have, and in fact, in the law, the Intergovernmental Relations Technical Committee is supposed to be the secretariat of the summit. But usually, the Intergovernmental Technical Relations Committee really sits on this, and therefore strengthening intergovernmental relations. So we are recommending, one of the recommendations of the next council really is to work very hard in strengthening, pushing for the strengthening of the intergovernmental institutions like the summit, the CoG, which is also an intergovernmental institution, and the Intergovernmental Relations Technical Committee. Of course, there has also been a lot of confusion about the CoG, because the way it is named, because it is called Council of Governors, people do not understand that it doesn't deal with partners. We would expect that is for a provision for funding directly from the exchequer that is determined properly, that is reliable, so that the CoG can continue doing its valuable work of coordinating the devolved governments in their service delivery, and also, of course, the interface between the devolved governments and the national government. And indeed, the CoG has made a proposal in the amendment of the law. We have already forwarded our proposal on how the Intergovernmental Relations Act can be amended to provide for this eventuality. Lastly, I wish also to point out that the IBEC has no secretariat. No, the Intergovernmental Budget and Economic Council, which is a key institution in dealing with financial issues, in dealing with revenue issues, and in dealing with budget issues from both levels of government. It is an anomaly that it still operates without a secretariat and operates in the office of the Deputy President. We would also expect one of the reforms and one of the changes we expect the new council to push is for this important institution to have a separate secretariat since it is an intergovernmental agency representing both levels of government. When we turn to law, I would want to say as follows. It is critical that county legislation be published and made available to the public. Article 199 of the Constitution outlines how county laws should be published. That is, they must be published in the Kenyan Gazette. Through consultative discussions, the government press is already publishing county laws in line with Article 199 of the Constitution. It is, however, important to point out that, save for the judiciary, no other institution has supervisory roles over county legislation that have been passed into law. Therefore, we are pointing out this because we have under some impasse in relation to publishing of county laws, where the Office of the Attorney General has been advising and insisting on reviewing county laws before they are published. The Office of the Attorney General has an advisory role at the national level, but it has no power to review county legislation. County legislations are passed by county assemblies. County assemblies are empowered by law, by the Constitution of Kenya, to pass laws. And the fact that county assemblies are smaller than the National Assembly doesn't make them any inferior. Their laws that are passed are as effective as any law passed anywhere at the national level. They are effective at the county level as any other law. Indeed, the law is very clear. If county assemblies on devolved functions pass a legislation, that legislation is supposed to enjoy superior status than a national law passed on a devolved function. So this is another area that we require a lot of clarity, so that people can, we stop treating counties as if they are local authorities. I have even heard in some forums where county legislation are called bylaws. There are still people who call them bylaws. They are not bylaws, they are laws that have a force of law in the counties where they are passed. As you are aware, the council has, over the last 4 years, continuously and tirelessly pushed the two houses of parliament to pass legislation needed to fully implement devolution as provided for under the Constitution. The Council is monitoring key legislation in Parliament that have a significant impact on county government. I wish to note that the Health Bill, for example, the Health Bill 2015, which attempt to define the functions of national government and devolved function of the county governments, was referred to the Mediation Committee on 15 February 2017, and the report of the committee has since not been presented to Parliament. Another key law that is pending in Parliament is the County Boundaries Bill 2016, which seeks to define the boundaries of the counties of Kenya, provide for the resolution of county boundaries dispute through the establishment of a County Boundaries Mediation Committee, and to give effect to Article 188 of the Constitution on the alteration of county boundaries. The County Outdoor Advertising Control Bill 2015 is also before Parliament. The bill seeks to give effect to Section 3 of Part 2 of the 4th Schedule to the Constitution, which provides outdoor advertising as one of the function areas of county governments. Another crucial legislation pending is the County Government Disaster Management Bill 2014. The essential purpose of this bill is to provide for the management of disasters and emergencies in counties by effective planning and risk reduction and response and recovery procedures and promotion of coordination amongst the responsible agencies. Other key bills pending before the Senate include the County Pension Scheme Bill, which seeks to harmonize county workers' pension schemes, the Intergovernmental Relations Amendment Bill 2014, which is intended to set up and establish the CoG Secretariat and to enhance the Council of County Assemblies in law. The Impeachment Procedure Bill 2016 to clarify the impeachment process, and the Public Participation Bill 2016. These bills are crucial as they hold the key to successful devolution. We therefore strongly urge the National Assembly and the Senate to fast-track these bills, but obviously also make sure that they don't infringe on the functions of the counties and do not violate the Constitution. Excellence in governance, devolution has emerged as the biggest driver of domestic tourism, both international and local tourism, have recently become important in counties' hospitality industry. Since the inception of the new constitution, tourism sites in counties have increased from 401 to currently 632, while other new sites are being opened every day in the counties. The ingrading and the classification of the hotels done by Tourism Regulatory Authority in 2016 shows a significant increase of vacation hotels and lounges. Data collected in 41 counties indicated that 15 hotels and lounges were rated 5-star, 41 as 4-star, and 53 were rated as 3-star. Tourism has increased by 12% in the year 2016. The accommodation and food services sector has also grown by 15.3% in the same period. Turning to the issue of natural resources, and specifically starting with water, the total number of operational boreholes in the counties has increased from 4,967 in 2013 to 6,498 in 2015. 52 additional water dams have been added across the counties from the previous number 1,191 in 2013 to 1,243 dams. The average distance covered to access water has reduced from 6.2 kilometers in 2013 to 2.72 kilometers in 2016. An additional 500,000 households have been connected with piped water from previous 1.6 million to 2.1 million households. A total of 1,520 hospitals, health centers, and dispensaries in 18 counties are connected to boreholes. Counties, in collaboration with the Ministry of Water and Irrigation and development partners like JICA, have embarked on a project to strengthen the capacity of water service providers to minimize non-revenue water. On forests, over the last 5 years, forest cover has increased from 5% to 7%, according to Kenya Forest Service annual report. Counties, together with the national government, are working to ensure the constitutional requirement of 10% is achieved. Since 2013, there have been an increase in the number of community forest associations, resulting in increased protection of water towers. The Council of Governors, in partnership with the Kenya Forest Service, has developed 47 forest transition implementation plans. These plans provide a framework to formally devolve certain forestry functions to the counties. On climate change, counties are working to ensure that climate change is mainstreamed. Climate change mitigation is mainstreamed in the county plans. This is through the development of climate change model laws premised on domesticating the Climate Change Act 2016. Counties like Wajir, Garissa, Kitui, Makueni, and Isiolo have also formed county climate change funds. In the education, gender, youth, sport, culture, and social services, the county government have continued to invest in education, youth, gender, and sports in the last 3 financial years. We have demonstrated this through increase in budgetary allocations, standing at 8.2% of the total county budgets, from Kenya shillings 21.41 billion in the financial year 2013-2014 to Kenya shillings 29.6 billion in financial year 2015-2016. On school bursaries, majority of the county governments have established scholarships and bursary funds benefiting secondary, college, and university students. This has ensured the girl child to access education, especially secondary and tertiary level, in marginalized areas, both urban and rural. On early childhood education, county governments have increased investment in early childhood development and education through the inception of devolved units to a total of Kenya shillings 6.5 billion for the last 3 financial years. This shows a steady increase of allocation to ECDE from Kenya shillings 1.2 billion in financial year 2013-2014 to Kenya shillings 2.4 billion in financial year 2015-2016. The number of children benefiting from the school feeding programs implemented by the counties has peaked at 334,277, with 168 and 41 girls and 166,236 boys benefiting in the 3 financial years. On vocational training, county governments have increased investment in technical and vocational training centers since the inception of devolved governance from Kenya shillings 523 million in the 2013-2014 financial year to Kenya shillings 890 million in the 2015-2016 financial year, representing a 70% increase. County governments have cumulatively spent 2.1 billion since the 2013-2014 financial year on technical and vocational training centers. The number of vocational trainees recruited by the county government have increased by 464% from 337 in the 2013-2014 financial year to 1904 in the 2015-2016 financial year. The number of female trainees employed increased from 85 in 2013-2014 to 252 in the 2015-2016 financial year, representing a 196% increase, while the number of male trainees increased from 87% from 252 in the 2013-2014 financial year to 473 in the 2015-2016 financial years. The number of trainees benefiting from the sponsorship programs increased from 8,701 in the 2013-2014 financial years to 18,835 in the 2015-2016 financial year. The number of male beneficiaries increased from 5,479 to 11,119, representing a 103% increase, while the number of female beneficiaries increased by 137% from 3,252 in 2013-2014 to 7,716 in the 2015-2016 financial year. Ladies and gentlemen, on 27th February 2018, the first Children's Revolution Conference was held in Nairobi. The conference was organized by the Council of Governors and the partners working with and for children in Kenya. This conference was unique as it gave the children of Kenya an opportunity to tell their story of devolution, where over 180 boys and girls were in attendance. The Children's Devolution Conference will continue as a platform to ensure our children are on board as we make devolution a greater success. On knowledge management and sharing on best practices, I want to say as follows. One of the core mandates of the Council of Governors is to share information on the performance of the counties in the execution of their functions with the object of learning and the promotion of best practices. To this end, the Council has, with the support of development partners, established and launched a best practice center known as Marifa Center, which is both physical and virtual, to facilitate and stimulate counties to learn from good practices that have worked locally, internationally, and globally. The Best Practice Center supports counties with the following services: sharing of innovation and best practices, and providing a platform for counties to share innovations and the best practices. 1. 2, promoting peer learning for improved performance and accountability. 3, learning from the NEPA and peer review and other mechanisms. And D, support in strengthening data management system for counties. On sustainable development goals, county governments have institutionalized the coordination of SDGs implementation at the county level through the planning department in all the 47 counties. County governments have also taken a bold step to mainstream SDGs in the county integrated development plans, and this will be attained through CINDP guidelines. We are therefore confident that with the progress the progress we have made, we will be able to achieve the SDGs even before the set target of 2030. We therefore wish to call upon all the development partners to continue supporting counties in this initiative of mainstreaming the accelerated implementation of the SDGs. Counties are part of the SDGs National Voluntary Review process for Kenya and have done self-assessment on the progress of implementation of SDGs since January 2016. These will form part of the Kenya report to be shared with the rest of the world during the high-level political forum on SDGs in July 2017. One of the biggest challenges in tracking progress in SDGs implementation is data management by counties. There is need to fast-track the statistics bill and build the capacity of counties in data collection, synthesis, and management. As I conclude, let me turn to a few challenges. As I mentioned earlier, realizing the fruits of devolution is not an easy task. In this regard, county governments have experienced their fair share of challenges in their pursuit of implementing devolution. These challenges include the following. Laws and policies have been passed by Parliament with provisions that infringe on and interfere with the functions of county governments. In this regard, some of the bills that the national government ministries have developed are on sectoral policies that ostensibly implement devolution. These policies, most of which we have reviewed, are extremely problematic as they have attempting to centralize functions and greatly undermine devolution. Key examples include the health policy, the veterinary policy, the roads policy, agriculture policy, the livestock policy, fisheries policy, among others. Moreover, a review of the national government strategy documents, such as the National Government Strategy on External Resources Mobilization, is anti-devolution, and reviews very little effort to foster devolution. There has also been a lack of adequate resources to fund devolved functions. In fact, this has been the biggest challenge for counties. This has been occasioned by the slow rate of disbursement to counties from the National Treasury and the inability of county government to access bank overdrafts from the central bank due to lack of guidelines on the same. Additionally, rampant disruption of the IFMI system due to network challenges as well as new wave of theft through the system has also posed a big challenge to the counties in their service delivery efforts. Though county governments have made remarkable achievements, the ICT sector has had its fair share of challenges. For instance, limited resources translate into poor infrastructure, inadequate connectivity, limited skill sets required for sustainable growth, and inability to provide sufficient technical capacity, amongst others. Reduction in the county's share of revenue percentages as proposed in the budget policy statement of 2016-2017 has also continued to pose a challenge on counties. Turning to one of the key points or key challenges that will have very serious implications after the coming election is the attempt in Parliament to pass a law that intends to limit appeals on petitions. There is a bill in Parliament currently that is being debated, that was proposed. I think it emanated from the judiciary, that proposes to limit poor petitioners to the Court of Appeal in all the other cases except the presidential petitions. We think this is a violation of the Constitution. If this bill is passed, it is a backdoor way of attempting to amend the Constitution. In the last elections, petitioners went all the way to High Court, to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court interpreted the Constitution to provide that poor losers can access opportunities of appeal all the way to the Supreme Court. So the right thing to do if somebody wanted to limit this right of appeal is to amend the Constitution. You cannot have an ordinary legislation amending a Constitution when the Supreme Court has actually addressed itself on those specific provisions of the Constitution. I do not know what is driving this desire to make our Supreme Court idle. Because the Supreme Court is the guardian of our constitutional order. And where a petitioner is affected, the Constitution is very specific. It says on matters relating to the interpretation of the Constitution, you have an appeal all the way to the Supreme Court. Why somebody would want to limit that, I do not know. I don't see the value in it. I don't see how it will improve the democratic order in the country or the constitutional jurisprudence that guides our democracy. I do not know. And for us as a council, we have made a decision that if that bill ever finds the light of the day, we will challenge it in court. And we are asking members of Parliament to learn from the past, where they have made laws that have completely brought problems to themselves. For example, the party opening bill that was passed, you can see the havoc it has caused. Many of those members are the ones now crying. And yet they are the ones who passed that law that prevented people from exercising their democratic right of association. This is another bill that many people will cry over it if it has ever passed. The issue of IFMIS, we really want to, I do not know what language we can use for those who are in charge of IFMIS to understand how serious this matter is. No single month ends in the counties without this system not working. And the counties are left with the option of only working to pay salaries at the end of the month, because either a week or two have been disrupted, services have been disrupted by IFMIS. We could not pay suppliers, we could not do other financial transactions that we are supposed to do due to constant breakdown of IFMIS. This is another issue we think should be taken very, very seriously so that counties can be able to deliver services. You can be sure at the end of this year, which is coming to an end, we will have a lot of money unspent, and then counties will be accused of not spending the money. Yet, your hands are tied. A computer solution is given to you that doesn't work completely. And therefore, instead of being an enabler in service delivery, this technology has become the biggest drawback in the county's government being able to meet their targets in service delivery at the county level. And we think the time a long-term solution is found to this big problem, the better for all of us. Turning to the Division of Revenue Bill 2017, I would want to state as follows. The Division of Revenue Bill 2017 is yet to be passed. Failure by Parliament to pass the bill will negatively affect the counties as they are already coming up with their budget for the 2017-2018 financial year without knowing how much money Parliament will allocate to them. Indeed, I've already talked about that. I just want to mention in relation to the collective bargaining agreement that we had with the doctors, nurses, and other cadres, I want to state as follows. Collective bargaining agreement with doctors, dentists, pharmacists, and nurses have not yet been signed, but we are in the process of working out the signing of the CBA. The Council is working with all stakeholders to ensure that labor relation challenges with all the workers are addressed. Further, the Council confirms that the doctors will be paid for the period they were on strike. We want to confirm in our deliberation this morning, we decided that on humanitarian grounds, we will pay doctors for the 100 days that they were on strike. We'll pay them, but we hope an unprecedented situation like the one they put the country on will never be repeated again. So we want bygones be bygones, and we want to move forward, and therefore we want to show goodwill gesture by paying them for that period. But we also want to point out that we do not expect at any one time when the offices for negotiations are open that the health sector in the country won't be affected in the way it was affected during the strike. As we prepare to usher in the second Council of Governors, the following issues, in addition to the other issues that I've already explained, must be addressed to further entrench and improve service delivery to the counties, service delivery to Kenyans at the county level. We need to amend the Constitution to anchor the 45% minimum equitable share to the county government. This has been our clarion call at the Council of Governors, and we continue maintaining that a percentage of national revenue that is determined in the Constitution and that is clear and specific must be provided for. And our working has always brought us to 45%. Once this is resolved, then all other devolution issues are resolved, because the biggest drawback in devolution is the issue of sustainable resourcing for county governments. State agencies and corporation and regional development authorities must be restructured to align to the devolved system of government. These include the National AIDS Control Council, regional development authorities, and the National AIDS Control Program, to mention a few. Lastly, as recommended by this year's inaugural Children's Development and Devolution Conference, counties should enhance protection and participation of children in development by establishing children rescue homes and centers, as well as recognizing the protection of children with disability, and undertake programs aimed at taking affirmative action to ensure equal access to services provided by county governments. As I close, fellow Kenyans, numbers do not lie. Numbers can tell a story or paint a picture. As you can clearly see, the numbers indicate that devolution has been working and is currently working. But even as I conclude, I must mention that we must keep guard. We must guard the security of our country. It is unfortunate that there are still very many incidences of insecurity being reported, especially in the frontier areas of the country that are called frontiers, such as Garissa, Mandera, Wajir, Baringo, among others. Security is an issue that falls within the purview of the national government. It is therefore unfortunate and disheartening that issues of security have never been tackled or taken as seriously as they should be taken at the national level. Insecurity could affect the electoral process as well as the general development and well-being of our citizens. Allow me to reiterate that devolution is a collaborative effort where many institutions are involved and both levels are involved, and indeed even citizens must also get involved. Therefore, the role of the mwananchi cannot be overstated, for it all starts with him or her. Today's head Kenyans have a responsibility of putting into office, therefore, good leaders who can take devolution to the next level. And it is therefore the citizens who should have take over that responsibility of electing good leaders. Even as we prepare for the first general elections with county government in existence, let us exercise our civic duties diligently and wisely. Let us not waste the currency of our votes, for they are the only weapons of bringing change that we so much deserve and desire. I am positive that the first governors have done a really good job at kickstarting devolution. Institutions are now set up, and the county governments are normally functioning and running. But counties, as I have just outlined, are still facing numerous challenges and problems. As we wish that the second council will take care of these issues that we have outlined, and they take devolution to the next level. Finally, I therefore urge all of us as a country to approach the coming elections with a lot of caution in terms of our utterances and our actions, so that our country can still remain one nation. I call on all of you to promote cohesion and inclusiveness as we gear up to the 2017 general elections. Let us be united. Let us be the united nation we have always been as we prepare to open the next chapter on devolution. And I also want to take this opportunity to wish you, all of you, fellow governors, the very best in your campaigns and in your responsibilities, because you still continue running the governments, even as you seek votes to be elected governor for a second term. And in my own assessment, you have done a great deal in a very difficult environment, scarce resources, uncharted waters, and therefore you deserve a second term. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless Kenya.